When I left home, I was selfish and angry, was running for my life. I had to escape the hurt and the hate after I took what was mine. The sun has set upon me, think I'll stop for the night. The stones at my feet, they will come into need. Lay my head down, I am tired. I dreamed I climbed a ladder, closer to heaven with every rung. There were angels all around, going up and going down. You were in this place and I didn't know. Unsure of what I saw, lift my head off the stone, found a place of my own. Here with you I can go home. If home is where the heart is, I left my heart at home. And I should have known I wasn't alone. I'm the last one to know. If you will stay with me, I'll never leave your side. You were in this place and I didn't know.
Good evening, Shabbat Shalom, and welcome. It is such a pleasure to get to be together this evening, to be in this space, to be in this virtual space, to have you here for the start of Shabbat. And this is a super special Shabbat. One, because I have the opportunity to share the pulpit with an amazing service and song leader. But two, because this Shabbat gives us an opportunity to say thank you. This is the culmination of the congregation's Giving Tuesday and philanthropic giving campaign. With your generosity, we were able to again meet our goal, allowing us to do wonderful things as we try to build and sustain Jewish life here in the South Hills of Pittsburgh. Thank you, thank you, thank you for everything you do for the life of this congregation. Not only your dollars, though they do matter, but your participation, your involvement, your presence this evening. And as one way that we might say thank you to everyone who has participated and everyone who is worshiping with us, we are so excited to welcome Alan Goodis here with us this evening. Alan is a Chicago-based, but I'm kind of curious how much time you actually get to spend in Chicago. It can't be much.
It's more lately, yeah.
Fair enough. A Chicago-based musician who travels the country visiting different synagogues, visiting summer camps. His music is ubiquitous throughout the Reform movement, and we're so happy to have you here with us this evening. Let's start, as we are wont to do, words of Hine Matov on page 10 in your prayer book. Some of the words that will be new to us will be up on the screens for us this evening. And again, it's such a pleasure to have you here.
We
join together singing like this. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim yam yachad. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim yam. That sounds so good. Let's sing it again. Here we go. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim yam yachad. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim yam yachad. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim yam yachad. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim yam yachad. Shalom Aleichem, Salam Aleikum. Shalom Aleichem, Salam Aleikum. Shalom Aleichem, Salam Aleikum. Shalom Aleichem, Salam Aleikum. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim yam yachad. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim yam yachad.
Though it did start to warm up eventually, it is a day on which we could use a little bit of extra warmth, not only the warmth of companionship of those in this room, but the warmth that Shabbat brings symbolically through the lighting of our lights, through its presence in our lives. And I invite you to turn to page 2 in your prayer books, as it is a delight to invite Rabbi Emily Meyer forward to kindle the lights of Shabbat. Page 2.
Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
If it is comfortable for you to do so, I would invite you to rise as we take in the sweetness of Shabbat together. Words of our Shabbat evening Kiddush can be found on page 5. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei puri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zicharon lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom tehila lemikra'e kodesh zecher letziyat Mitzrayim ki banu v'charta v'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim Shabbat Kodshecha Be'ava uvratzon Hinchaltanu Baruch Atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. L'chaim. I invite you to be seated as we share in the sweetness of Shabbat, not only our juice for Kiddush, but the time we have together and the chance to lift our voices in song. We turn to page 12 in our prayer book as we begin our Kabbalat Shabbat prayers, welcoming Shabbat through song, through psalm. Page 12.
Lechu neranena, yai lai 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 lai, l'Adonai, yai lai 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 lai, Naria, yai lai 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 lai, Litzur Ishenu, yai lai lai. Let us sing out to God, maker of all, sure and strong. Let all of creation from mountain to sea hear our song. Lefuneranena, yai lai 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 lai, l'Adonai. Yai lai 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 lai, Naria, yai lai 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 lai, Litzur Ishenu, yai lai 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 lai. For all of the wonder in all of God's light, we rejoice. So now let us listen with all of our hearts to hear God's voice. Lefuneranena, yai lai 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 lai, l'Adonai, yai lai 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 lai, Naria. Yai lai 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 lai, Litzur Ishenu, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai. Over on page 13 we find the words for Psalm 96, Shir Chadash. Let us sing a new song unto God. We join together. Shiru l'Adonai, kol haaretz. Shiru l'Adonai, shir chadash. Shiru l'Adonai, sing unto God, sing unto God all the earth a new song. I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God and we'll all sing along. Sing unto God and we'll all the earth a new song unto God. Sing unto God all the earth a new song. I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God and we'll all sing along. Sing unto God, and we'll all the earth a new song, all the earth a new song unto God.
The sound of our voices, our songs, our prayers welcome Shabbat. And with the words we will soon find, we imagine ourselves welcoming Shabbat itself into this space with us. But before we get there, it seems only appropriate we take this opportunity to welcome one another. I invite you to turn to the people around you in your personal compass, north, south, east, west. Wish them a Shabbat Shalom. How good it is to be together tonight.
Shalom.
And with those words of Lecha Dodi on pages 20 and 21, we imagine ourselves welcoming even Shabbat into this space with us. Verses 1, 2, 5, and 9 as usual.
Melody might be new for many of us. I'm going to sing a little bit to everybody so we can learn it, and then we'll sing together. There's actually two parts. First part, we just sing Lecha Dodi like this. Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi. Listen again. Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi. Try it again. Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi, Lecha some of us can sing that, while the rest of us sing like this. Just listen first, we'll learn it together. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, v'nei Shabbat nikavela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, v'nei Shabbat nikavela. Try with me, lecha lecha. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, v'nei Shabbat nikavela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, v'nei Shabbat nikavela. Verse 1 we sing. Shamor v'zachor v'dibur echad, Ishmianu el kameyuchad, Adonai echad, Ushmo echad, Leshem ultiferet v'litila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, v'nei Shabbat nikavela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, v'nei Shabbat nikavela. Verse 2, likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם, בסוכה, סוף מעשה במשאבת הילה. lecha Dodi likrat kala, v'nei Shabbat nikavela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, v'nei Shabbat nikavela. Hitoreri, ki va'orech umiuri, uri, shir darberi, yevod Adonai alayach nikla. I'm looking out at a congregation of people who are singing so beautifully, with so much spirit and so much volume. And I'm seeing a lot of people in the room tapping their feet, or politely tapping on their book when they could be clapping their hands. If you feel so bold, please sing again. Lechadodi likatla, v'neshvat mikavela. Lechadodi likatla, v'neshvat mikavela. If you're able, we invite you to please rise as we turn towards the door we came in and welcome the Sabbath bride. Verse 9, Boi v'shalom. Boi v'shalom ateret bala, gam b'simcha u'v'tzokola, doch emunei am segula. Boi chala, lechadodi likratla, v'neshvat mikavela. Lechadodi likatla, v'neshvat mikavela. Keep singing that. Somebody sing with me. Lechadodi, 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 lechadodi. We continue, page 26, Chatzi Kaddish. Yitgadal ve'yishtabach shmei Rabba, ve'almad yivrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'b'yom echon, u'v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael. Bagala, ובזמן קריב וימרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה. יתברך, יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל. שמי דקודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה. תושבחתה ונאמתה, דמירן בעלמה, ויאמרו אמן. Page 28. Yai la lai 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 lai. Yai la lai 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 lai. Yai la lai 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 lai. Yai la lai 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 lai. Yai la lai 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 lai. Yai la lai 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 lai. Yai la lai 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 lai. Yai la lai 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 lai. Baruchu et Adonai
It has been a long week. I invite you to take a rest, to have a seat. If you had the chance to put your feet up, as we join together in the English reading on the top of page 29. There is one who sings a song of his own life, finding everything within himself. There is one who leaves the circle of herself and sings a song of her people. There is one whose voice rings with the song of humanity, hoping for the highest perfection, and there is one who rises even higher, uniting with all creatures, with all worlds, filling the universe with song. Nivarech, let us bless. The next words we might offer together are found on page 32.
Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Hukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta. Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Hukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shochbeinu u'meinu nasiach bechukecha v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha u'b'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed.
Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol, all these things your Torah gives to us. And the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works and the living language that gives it form? Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Hukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shochbeinu u'meinu nasiach bechukecha v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha u'b'mitzvotecha le'olam va'avat olam. Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Hukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta. Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Hukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta. If you're able, we invite you to rise as we turn to page 34. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. May be seated. Continue on page 36, words of Ve'ahavta.
Ve'avta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol
levacha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol ונינמתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. I invite you to turn to page 40. Here we find the words to Micha Mocha, our song of freedom. There's a really interesting teaching that I learned that I'd love to share with you. So as many of us might know, Micha Mocha, these words our people sang when they were slaves long ago. They were slaves and they decided, let's leave Egypt and we'll cross the sea, and we sing, Micha Mocha Ba'ilim Adonai, who is like you, Adonai, our God, mighty and awesome. And they go deeper into the water, and they reach the point where the water is in their mouth, and they can no longer make a cha sound with a mouthful of water. So they say again, Micha Mocha, Nedar Kodesh, who is like you, Adonai, our God, mighty and awesome. And eventually they reach freedom, this promised land, which perhaps they'd been dreaming of for a long time. The teaching I will share with you from Rabbi Yitz Greenberg tells us this, that when the Jewish people decided they no longer wanted to be slaves and they wanted to leave slavery, it was not all that hard for them to leave. They simply walked. What was hard for them was to get slavery out of themselves once they reached the promised land. So as we sing these words of Micha Mocha, invite you maybe to consider where you are. All of us are on a journey in different points of struggle, being slaves in different ways, feeling perhaps like we are struggling with something. Maybe we're in the middle of our way out of that struggle. Maybe we've reached a new promised land. Wherever you are, I invite you to sing with us and know that you can get through. We sing, Micha Mocha Ba'ilim Adonai, Micha Mocha Nedar HaKodesh, Micha Mocha Ba'ilim Adonai, Micha Mocha Nedar HaKodesh. Moshe Miriam, זה אלינו ואמרו, זה אלינו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. מיכה מוכה באלים אדוני, מיכה מוכה נדר בקודש, מיכה מוכה באלים אדוני, מיכה מוכה נדר בקודש.
And even when it feels like we're living in that promised land, there are lots of things that can shake us. different stories we may read in the news or wish we hadn't read in the news, different forms of crazy being thrown at us each and every day that threaten the very foundation of our safety and security in the Jewish community wherever we may be. With words on pages 42 and 43 and soon on our screens, we ask for a sense of peace, a sense of shelter. We ask for God's protection with the onset of evening and even in this promised land. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts, with eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up, waiting to do your will.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Shalom Lehamidenu Shomreinu L'chaim L'chaim. Let's sing that again. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Shalom Lehamidenu Shomreinu L'chaim, L'chaim. Let there be love, guard us with peace, strength and compassion for all in need. Shield us from hate, illness and war. Watch over us as we go forth. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'Shalom Lehamidenu Shomreinu L'chaim, L'chaim. Fill us with hope, grace and truth. May we all return to you. Keep us safe, safe tonight. May we rise in a new light. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'Shalom Hamidenu Shomreinu L'chaim, 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 L'chaim. Continue at the top, or the top, yes, top of page 44. No. Bottom of page 44. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל ואת השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. קביעו ביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. If you're able, we invite you to please rise as we join together on page 46, words of Adonai Sfatai. Anananananana Adonai, Anananananana Sfatai Tita, Anananananana Ufiagid Tehilatena, Anananananana Adonai, Anananananana Sfatai Tika, Anananananana Ufiagid Tehilateha, Anananananana Adonai, Anananananana Sfatai Tika, Anananananana Ufiagid Tehilateha, Anananananana Adonai, Anananananana Sfatai Tika, Anananananana Ufiagid Tehilateha.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, U'mevii Gula Livnei V'neihem, Leman Shemo Be'ava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Bezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Leolam Adonai, Mechaye HaKol Atah Rav LeHoshia, Mashiv HaRuach, U'Morid HaGashem, Mechalkel Chayim Bechesed, Mechaye HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Ve'Rofei Cholim, U'Matir Asurim, U'Mekayem Emunato Lishenei Afar, Michamocha Ba'al Gevurot, Umido Melach, Melech Meinit, Umechaye, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah lachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechaye hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, U'kdoshim b'chol yom yaluch hasela. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. The words of our tradition of this section of the service continue through page 62 in your prayer book, and I would invite you to use those words as a guide to offer those prayers that can only come from your hearts through your minds and your lips. I invite you to continue with a moment of silent prayer, and when you have finished your tefillah this evening, I invite you to be seated.
יהיו לרצון אמרי והגיון ליבי לפניך אדוני צורי וגואלי אדוני צורי וגואלי May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, Adonai. My Redeemer, Yehu leratzon imrefi, ve'egion libi lefanecha, Adonai tzuri. Adonai Tzuri Begoali. You can sing back to me here. May the words of my mouth, and the meditations of my heart, be acceptable to you, Adonai, my rock, my redeemer. Yehiu leratzon imrefi ve'egyon libi lefanecha. Adonai tzuri ve'goali, Adonai tzuri ve'goali.
Even when we come together with a sense of wholeness that Shabbat can bring into our hearts, even when we come together searching for that sense of wholeness that Shabbat can bring into our hearts, we recognize there are those in our community and in our lives who may not be feeling the same way this Shabbat, who may be struggling with ailments of mind, of body, of spirit. If there are those you are thinking of, for Mishaberach Lecholim, our prayer for healing found on page 253, I would invite you to share their name with the community if you are comfortable doing so, concerting our prayers, concerting our efforts on their behalf. Baruch atah Adonai Rofeh HaCholim. Blessed are you, God, who brings a measure of comfort to all who are ill. And together we say, Amen.
Of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Invite you to close your Sidurim, if you like. As you can see, your rabbi has taken a seat among his people, which means that this evening you are stuck with me for a sermon in song, though, a sermon in song. First of all, it's a real pleasure to be here at your congregation. This is my first time ever visiting this community, and I can tell you as someone who visits many, many, many communities and who's worked with many, many, many rabbis and cantors and clergy, and before I visit many of those congregations, I'll often ask the person I'm leading services with, tell me about your congregation. Do they like to sing? And often they say, why, yes, they do. And often I show up in those communities, and when I look out and invite everyone to sing, it's a whisper, and nobody sings. And that is not what's happened this evening. So thank you to each and every one of you for bringing yourselves and singing so beautifully. Going to share a couple of songs with you tonight. The first is based off of this week's Torah portion. We are in the midst of the book of Genesis. Chapter 28 this week, the Torah portion, Vayetze, which if you are here tomorrow morning or literally anywhere in the world, this will be the parasha that's read. This is the story of Jacob's dream, of Jacob's ladder. Story goes, Jacob is very upset with his twin brother Esau. Feels as though Esau maybe has stolen his birthright. So what does he do? In the midst of this anger, he decides he is leaving. So Jacob leaves home, wanders off in what was around him, which at this time was nothing but land, and wanders, and then eventually decides, I need to rest my head for the night. There is no Hilton Garden Inn, though, at this time. There's nowhere to put his head, so he finds himself a nice flat rock, which becomes his pillow as he sleeps, and Jacob rests his head, and as he's sleeping, and before he falls asleep in this whole journey, he's angry not just with Esau, he's angry with God, feeling like something was taken from him, feeling like, how could this happen? And as he falls asleep, goes off into a dream and has this wild and crazy dream where there's angels going up and down a ladder to what he believes to be heaven. And he awakens from this dream with a new sense that God must have been with him in that place, and he had no idea. That in this moment of anger and feeling like something was taken from him and far away from home, this renewed sense of faith. So he takes a little oil, pours it on the rock, and continues on his journey. And what I have taken from this portion, from this story, is this idea of what it means to call somewhere home. That for many of us, home was likely the four walls where we will rest our head this evening. For some of us, home might be right here at Temple. It might be the house we grew up in. It might be a summer camp or school or somewhere special. But this idea that sometimes we have to leave home to find a sense of home. So this is a story song. Our part to sing, we just sing the word home. It sounds like this. Oh, 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 try that with me, that's our part to sing. Oh, 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 oh. When I left home, I was selfish and angry, was running for my life. I had to escape the hurt and the hate after you took what was mine. The sun has set upon me, think I'll stop for the night. The stones at my feet, they will come into need. Lay my head down, I am tired. I dreamed I climbed a ladder, closer to heaven with every rung. There were angels all around, going up and going down. You were in this place and I didn't know. Oh, 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 oh. When I woke up, I was scared and anxious, unsure of what I saw. I picked my head off the stone, found a place of my own. Here with you I can go home. If home is where the heart is, I left my heart at home. And I should have known I wasn't alone. I'm the last one to know. If you will stay with me, then I will know you're mine. And if you'll protect me, I'll never leave your side. You were in this place and I didn't know. And now I know I'm going home. And now I know I'm going home. Oh, 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 Next song I wish to share with you is a blessing. About 15 years ago, I was invited to spend the weekend with a community in Denver, Colorado. And I was supposed to be there Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And maybe like 2 months before I was supposed to leave, they called up and said, hey, we're hosting a group of high schoolers for the weekend that you're here. And the high school seniors will be coming out a day early, actually, and we're going to take them out to the mountains. We're going to spend the night out there and then get up early and go camping. So if you're free and wanted to come a day early, let us know. We'd love to have you. And I said, I've never been to Denver. This sounds awesome. So booked a flight a day early and did just as we said. Went out Thursday evening and we woke up early Friday morning in Estes National Park and were invited to go hiking. And it was a beautiful spring day. It was probably 65 degrees and sunny on the ground when we began our hike. I didn't know anybody, and so I struck up conversation with a very friendly person by the name of Jay. And Jay and I started walking up this mountain together, and we got a little higher up, and the temperature started to get a little bit colder, and my breath started getting heavier, and then we kept hiking even higher, and then eventually there was snow on the ground, and I realized I didn't pack appropriately for the trip because I was getting cold, and my breath was getting heavier. And then Jay turned to me and said, did anybody talk to you about altitude? I said, no. He said, drink my water. So I drank Jay's water and kept hiking. And finally we reached the top of our destination. And Jay steps away from our conversation and says, excuse me, I gotta gather everybody. Shrugged my shoulders, said, okay. And he turns to this group of high school seniors, probably 80 of them, and as loud as he can, he tells everybody to stop. And everybody stops and looks at Jay. And Jay says, everybody, I want you to take a look around. So we all take a look around. And all our eyes can see is nature. And then Jay says, everybody, I'd like to lead you in a blessing. And this is when I learned this blessing for the very first time. And this is also when I learned that Jay was the rabbi of the congregation I was visiting. So these words were taught to me by Rabbi Jay Telrav, and the words are Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Shekacha Lo Be'olamo. And I remember Jay reciting these words to this group and translating them as, blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who has given us something such as this. Something such as this in the world. And I was struck by that. So on the walk down, I turned to Rabbi Telrav and said, tell me more about this blessing. I've heard so many blessings in my lifetime. Of course, the blessings we say before we eat a meal, or maybe before we travel, or before we wash our hands or go to sleep, but I've never heard a blessing that seems to be so ambiguous. You translated it as for this. This is why, yes, he goes, this blessing is something that is said traditionally when seeing or experiencing moments of beauty for the very first time, and especially moments of beauty in nature. And so this, kacha, is intended to be left for whoever is reciting the blessing to think about or to decide what that beautiful thing is for them. And I was so struck by this, I came home and called a friend of mine named Barb Ortico and came back, and we gathered, had lunch at her house. I told her this story, and then we sat down after lunch and sat at her piano and wrote this song. Share it with you now. It sounds like this. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, ruler of the universe. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, who has given us this in the world. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shekacha lo beolamo, who has given us this in the world. That's the whole thing. Let's sing it together. First two lines are responsive. Blessed are you, Adonai our God. Together we sing, ruler of the universe. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, who has given us this in the world. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shekacha lo beolamo, who has given us this in the world. If you're feeling brave enough, I invite you to close your eyes. Close your eyes. As I said, this blessing translates to, blessed are you, Adonai our God, ruler of the universe, who has given us something such as this in the world. We sing this when experiencing moments of beauty. All of us experience, hopefully, different moments of beauty throughout our day, our week, since last Shabbat. So whatever that beautiful thing is for you, right now in this moment, I invite you to picture it, hear it, remember it, hold on to it. And when you're ready, invite us all to take a big deep breath in. Let that air out of our lungs. And we still hold on to that beautiful thing from our week, whatever that beautiful thing is. Because it's yours and it's nobody else's. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shekacha lo beolamo, who has given us this in the world. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shekacha lo beolamo, who has given us this in the world. Who has given us this in the world? Who has given us this in the world? Shabbat shalom.
Thank you for enriching us not only through song, but with your words this evening.
Thank you. Yes.
Friends, we invite you to turn back in your Sidurim tonight to the bottom of page 282. On page 282, on the bottom of the page, we find words of Aleinu Leshabeach. And as you find your page, if it is comfortable for you to do so, I would invite you to rise. Aleinu v'shabeh. I invite you to be seated at this time as we turn to page 294 in our prayer books, page 294, and we begin to remember those upon whose shoulders we stand as we reach for even greater heights in this world. This Shabbat, we observe the period of Shloshim for Morton Aronson, Rita Kahn, Marty Markowitz, Jim Parker, and Sanford Sandy Paul. This Shabbat, we mark the yahrzeit, the commemoration of the passing of James Altman, Richard Ballin, Alice Barish, Sarah Beckman, Esther Berkowitz, Sidney Brown, Herman Cohen, Sanford Cooperman, Mervyn Daniels, Philip Diskin, Margaret Fisher, Bertha Fox, Alvin Friedman, Rachel Friedman, Morris Graff, Violet Gross, Zelda Judd, George Kaplan, Donald Landay, Dorothy Latterman, Lawrence I. London, Laszlo Lowy, Esther Bella Meislish, Nettie Protis, Margaret Reisman, Rebecca Revson, Rhoda Ringelheim, Harry E. Sable, Barbara Sadkin, Rabbi William Sajewicz, Daniel Schmerling, Sigrid Schwartzwelder, Ray Bidoff Selkovitz, Elliot Smolin, Phyllis Stein, Elke Weisman, Solomon C. Weinstein, Herbert S. Wolf, and Helen Zosky. Solomon C. Weinstein, Herbert S. Wolf, and Helen Zosky. If there are others you are remembering this Shabbat, or if I have inadvertently mispronounced the name of a loved one, I would invite you to share their name at this time.
Thomas Watson.
Yehei zichronam livracha. May their memory be for us an everlasting blessing. Words of Mourner's Kaddish can be found on page 294. And if it is comfortable for you to rise, I would invite you to do so. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shemei rabbah be'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei shemei rabbah mevarach le'alam u'lamei amaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemed gudsha barichu le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata da'miran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shalama rabba min shemaya V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru. Amen. May God, who makes peace in the highest of heavens, make peace for us and for all who mourn. And together we say, Amen. You are welcome to be seated. Tomorrow morning, Torah study at 9 a.m. on Zoom or in the community room here at Temple Emanuel of South Hills. And tomorrow, you get to spend the day with our friends over at Temple Sinai for a Shabbat morning service and then for a wonderful evening concert. A better prepared rabbi would have written down the timing of that concert to make sure to invite everyone.
I think it's 7 p.m.
I believe it is 7 p.m. as well. We're unanimous. 7 p.m. it is at Temple Sinai tomorrow. We hope you will join us there. Alan will be back with our Torah Center, our religion school students on Sunday morning, and we are so fortunate to have you in town for this weekend, for leading us in service this evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sarah, thank you for everything that goes on behind the scenes to allow everyone who is joining us in virtual land to be with us this evening. We are grateful for your presence and for each of you who have joined us in person and for the nosh immediately following out in the foyer. Our concluding song, however, closing words to send us on our way, we invite you to turn in your prayer book to page 321.
אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא לעת נעשה בחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא אזי מלך שמו נקרא ואחרי ככלות הכל לבעדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא הווה והוא יהיה בתפארה והוא יהיה בתפארה והוא אחד ואין שני לך שלו לך ברע ולי ראשית ולי תכלית ולא העוז והמזרח ולא העוז והמזרח והוא אלי וחי גואלי וצור הרלי ועת צרה והוא ניסי ומנוס לי מנות כוסי ביום אקרא מנות כוסי ביום אקרא בידו הכירותי והייתי שם והעירה ואמרותי גביעתי אדוני לי ולא אירא אדוני לי ולא אירא.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat.